Hello everybody, Ken here, welcome back to Magic Duels Origins. And we're time to start a new story. And the story this time is going to be Nissa Ravane. We've done 3, 2 left. Last time we saw Jace, so this time we'll jump over to green and see Nissa, a warrior of the Yoraga, a tribe of elves on Zendikar. In order to survive on such a wild plane, you must be tough and practical. However, you are uncannily attuned to nature. Elemental forces respond to your command. A gift some in your tribe fear. You have recurring visions that leave you with the unshakable feeling that there's a darkness hunting you. In an attempt to protect your tribe from whatever is after you, you flee Yoraga territory. Not far outside the safety of the forest, you detect the unmistakable scent of vampires. Uh-oh. So some vampires here. Person with a misshapen face. This slightly dour looking chap. And old double dagger dude over here. So they want some trouble. Vanessa's got that smoke. She's more powerful than these vampires realise. Okay, green time. Have a look. Only got 2 lands. We have a 2-drop. We got 3 3-drops, including this one here. You see, this one lets us play lands and put them on the put one onto the graveyard, onto the battlefield, and one into our hand. So this is what we call a ramp card. And green loves to ramp. And I guess kind of the distinguishing features of green is often they have a lot of big creatures, or they can spawn a lot of creatures, and also they love to ramp up. They love to put land into play, and green is very good at either putting land into play or playing creatures that can produce mana themselves. And the idea there is that the more of them you you spend your early mana making it so you have more mana than your opponent, and then you get to play big creatures while they're still playing smaller things. And oftentimes they have effects like trample and death touch that let big creatures wipe out smaller creatures or stop them from just being chump blocks by little tiny things. This vampire gets stronger when we're on 10 or less life, so we need to take that into mind. Vampires often get stronger when the enemy's damaged, so it's a good idea to try and clean them out a little bit. Now this Nissa's chosen, when it dies, goes to the bottom of the owner's library, which means it'll eventually come back, although it's unlikely we'll get through our whole library here. Now here we've got 3 options. We've got this 2/2. It's got landfall that lets us gain life. That could be quite a good counter to the life loss. And remember, you can go above 20 life in Magic. That's just your starting health. We got this death touch creature that can block flyers. Oh, sorry, not death touch, it's reach. There is one with reach and death touch, but it's not this. So we don't have a flyer to deal with, so we don't necessarily need this. And this is our ramp card. Now what we could do, we can't spend, if we put a land into the battlefield tapped, we won't be able to use it anyway. We could do it next turn, because we can't play another land this turn anyway. Whereas if we draw this land next turn, we can put it into play straight away. And also, this guy here gains us life whenever a land enters the battlefield. So if we play him now, when we play 2 lands next turn, we're going to gain 4 life. And that'll help counter this Ruthless Cullblade. Okay, we can attack with this. He'll either have to block with both creatures to kill this, in which case they'll both die because they only have 1 health each. Or he'll just have to chump block with 1 or take the 2 damage. Might just take the 2 damage. And that's the interesting thing about Magic, is it is often mind games. It's kind of like, are they just going to take the damage? It's not entirely for free, because he knows that our creature's now tapped. Or he's going to destroy a creature. Oh no. I bet he's going to destroy our Grazing Guildheart. He is. Oh well, never mind. It's a shame. Well, this is an interesting one. This, you can fight a creature. So it's as though they'd attacked each other in the kind of Hearthstone fashion. Ooh. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, so that's the same guy again. A little bit scary. Primal Bellow, here we go. Creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each forest you control. That seems very strong. I used to use Giant Growth, which is a 1 mana +3/+3. But you're almost always going to have 3 forests in a green deck. So that seems really good. Now let's play this Nissa's Pilgrimage. I think it's probably a good time to do it. We'll put this one, and then we'll put this one in our hand. Boom. And then we can play this one. And we won't attack, because we need to deal with some of these creatures. We've only got 1 blocker. We might as well use it to block for now. Again, just poking life isn't necessarily everything. If you think you can kill the opponent quickly, then you should attack in and try and get the damage in. But having a blocker up might change a lot. Ooh, the Invokers. Invokers are interesting cards. So you see this 8 mana, target player loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. It's not very good for 8 mana. But the thing is, it means that in the very, very late game, these Invokers will have small effects that you can dump mana into. So if you're only drawing 1 card a turn and you've got 12 mana sitting on the board, well, you can spend a lot of that on this particular card. Okay, so we can spend 3 on another Nissa's Pilgrimage. That would leave us with 2 active, and then we'd put 1 in to play, so we'd actually have 3. We could play Nissa's Chosen, and we'd still have mana for the Primal Bellow. So let's do that. That seems reasonable. We'll pop this one on tapped, and we'll put this lovely one in our hand. Then we'll play it, and we'll play Nissa's Chosen. So you see now we've got, this is 7 mana, and the opponent has just 4. Which means we're going to be able to start playing bigger things a lot faster than the opponent. And that's really kind of the key to green, I think. Often you'll also see a lot of creature synergies, so we're using elves. You see these are elf warriors. Last time we came across some soldiers that all buffed each other. But oftentimes you'll see elves that elves don't buff each other so much, but often they'll generate other elves, or one elf will gain power based on how many other elves are around. Here's another one that gets stronger when it's when we're on 10 life, and because it has Intimidate, we won't be able to block it because we're green and this is black. So we're going to end up dropping to 10 probably fairly soon, although the opponent's still not fighting, so that's okay. Maybe we should take out one of these bigger creatures. This is the biggest creature, but these guys are going to get bigger the second we drop down to a lower amount of health. Boom. Play the Recluse. And I guess we might as well kill one of these things, right? I kind of want to just start dealing with some stuff. This is only going to get stronger the longer we wait for it. Sure, let's use a Nissa's Chosen, why not? It doesn't really matter what we use too much. Boom. And there we go. Got rid of it. Functions basically as a removal spell, and you'll notice it doesn't tap our creature, so our Nissa's Chosen could still attack if we wanted to. But we won't. We'll wait for an opportune moment. These vampires really want to get us to lower health, but to do so they need to attack into us, and they haven't got any good way to do so at the moment. Play this Glade Heart. Boom. I'm tempted to attack him with our 2-3 here. Or even our 1-4, because our 1-4 would have to be blocked by everything to kill it. And we'd be able to hit for 9, which is okay, although I don't think we'd use it. If we're not going to use it, should we actually attack with it? I'm kind of torn. I'm going to skip for now. I'll play the slightly slower game. We're kind of relying on what we draw here, that's the only problem. And I don't know how many big cards our deck has. But sooner or later, someone's going to attack. Okay, well, we know the opponent's got nothing else in hand now. That's good to know. Because if we'd buffed up our creature and then they'd removed it with some kind of sneaky removal spell. More Nissa's Chosen. Always with the Nissa's Chosen. Okay. I think we should attack. I think we need to try and force this guy out of stalemate. These vampires. Because if we're top decking for too long, they might have something real sneaky. Now obviously they're going to try and hit back with our lowered number of creatures, but that's kind of what I'm banking on here. Because we do have good blockers. Yeah, you see, they didn't want to attack, so that was basically 4 damage for free. And we can fight another creature here. We can get rid of the 2-1. I think we'll do that. Might as well attack with something we're going to attack with it as well. So here, he could block and kill it with, but it would take 3 of his creatures. So we can attack with it, and we'll also attack with the 2-3. We get away with one more? Maybe we could, to be honest. Because he's still not really gonna want to attack into our creatures with what's currently on the board. And then black doesn't tend to have a lot of haste. Okay, blocking the 4-3. That's fine. So he's chump blocked. Decided to use this guy, even though he's stronger later. Attacking with these guys. Honestly, I think they should have been attacking with these guys. And just, you know, hey, if they die, that's fine. Because they're still dealing 1 damage. And once we get down to 10, they're still pinging us down slowly. So that we end up at 10. Here's another Nissa's Pilgrimage. Oh, we get 3. Kind of tasty. There's another good thing to doing this kind of land ramp, which is we're pulling all these forests out of our deck. So we're a lot less likely to draw forests. Now this is an instant and it will give us 10. So if we push in... We haven't got quite enough, because if they block this guy, and if they block 2 of the 2s, we'll only have... No, in fact, if they block 3 creatures and leave 2 2s, that's still 14. That's still 4. So we can attack with all. I think this will work. I think we have lethal. See how they block. Oh, he's blocking with 2s to kill it. Well, that's not very sensible. Okay, so this guy's got through. So we've got 6 damage going to face. We pump up this Nissa's Chosen. You are the chosen, the 12-13. Bam! Take that, vampires. Oh, the power of instants. That's green buffs for you. Green will just suddenly buff a creature to a huge amount. You have to really watch out for that. 2 lands enter the battlefield in a single turn. Controlled a creature with total power and toughness 20 or greater. Absolutely wonderful. So you repressed your elemental powers around the Uraga. Now you let them flow. The stalking vampires will not bother you again. As your connection with the land deepens, you begin to understand that the darkness is not hunting you. It's calling you. There's a blight deep in the continent of Akum. That is where you must go. Well, to the land of Akum, I guess. As you draw closer to the mountains of Akum, you can feel the land churn with the raw magic of the plain. This is the Royal, the manifestation of Zendikar's wild manner. Before you can react, you are caught up in it. Uh-oh. Oh gosh, we're fighting the Royal. This is just like raw elemental magic that we're dealing with. Okay, 5 forests. This big beefy rhino. Look at this. It's charging, so it can't be blocked by more than one creature because they literally can't get in front of it quickly enough. We got a buff. This isn't a great hand. We got 1 creature and it's a 5-cost creature. Now we did have 5 lands, but we don't want to wait until turn 5 potentially to play something. So let's draw a new hand. Okay, this is alright. Got lady on a raptor, elf on a raptor. So here's our invoker, you see. So this one, +5/+5 and trample. So you can just buff a creature hugely. And as you remember from earlier, trample means that any spare damage if it's been blocked, after you've dealt the damage to kill that creature, you can also deal the damage, the remaining damage to the player. This is okay. We got a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 4-drop, and we've got 4 lands, which is a reasonable number. Sort of 3 or 4 lands is usually what you're looking for in your opening hand, ideally. Sometimes it's okay to take 2 like we did last time, especially in green, if you have cards that let you ramp up easily. Tempest Owl. Okay, so this has got a kicker, which means you can pay an extra cost when you play it. It has to be when you play it, so now it's in play, they won't be able to use the kicker. But if they had, instead of paying 2 mana, could have paid 7 mana, which is a lot for a 1/2, but it lets you tap 3 permanents. So they could tap 3 lands to stop us playing an instant. They could tap 3 of our creatures so that we didn't have any blockers left. Very, very fun card, but also it's okay to play it for its cheap cost and just have a 1/2 flyer. That's pretty solid. Oh, the scoop mob. We've encountered these before in other campaigns. So if we control 5 or more lands, then at the beginning of our turn, because upkeep is at the start of our turn, then we put 4+1/+1 counters, and this repeats. So the first time it'll become a 5/5, then it'll become a 9/9. This card's pretty ridiculous. It's 1 mana for a 1/1. And we can just wait to play it. We don't. If we wanted a 1/1 desperately, we could play it now. If we felt we needed a creature just to act as a blocker, we can do that. But we don't have to. Obviously we can't block this because it's got flying. Hopefully we pull one of those reach cards out. We're dealing with blue here. Elemental magic. Of course, coming in blue. Just because, you know. Play our Grazing Gladeheart. That way we can gain our life back. Invokers I think are particularly good in... we might as well attack with this because if he blocks then he kills it. And we can't block these guys anyway, so it's no use just leaving it back as a blocker. Yeah, so Invoker's good in green because you often do end up with 8+ mana because of the ramp effects. Whereas in other decks, like in red or something perhaps, you don't end up with quite so much mana because you're often being very, very aggressive. So here we take 2, but we're still dealing 2, as long as they're not blocking. Uh-oh. Oh, this seems okay. It's a flying 4/4. It'll have to bounce a land back to his hand, so he's going to be stuck on 4 land every turn, unless he sacrifices it. Now a 4/4 fly for 4 is pretty good. And it might be that as long as this stays on the board, he doesn't really need an extra land. So, you know, there's certainly value there. We'll gain our 2 life back. And we'll play our Wild Heart Invoker. Now I guess I'm just going to skip attack because we can't really fight this 4/4 with our weaker creatures. But we can rely on this land, this life gain from the land. For now. And then this turn we can play Scoop Mob because we'll have enough creatures for it to get big the time after. So I think we're in good shape. Win Zendikon. Oh wow, it turns a land into a 2/2 elemental creature with flying. That's real interesting. So it's still a land. You could either tap it for mana or you can attack with it. It's good fun. I like that. Let's play our Scoop Mob. We could attack with the Wild Heart Invoker. It would kill anything that blocked it. Do we want to do that and see if he blocks with the 4/4 or the 2/2? If he blocks with the 2/2, this doesn't die. If he blocks with the 4/4, then they trade. I think that's okay. We're going to have a creature bigger than a 4/4 next turn anyway. And again, we can't actually block with these guys. The reason I'm not attacking with them is because the 4/4 kills them for free. And we could flood him with more things than he can block, but I don't know that that's necessarily wise. Ooh, is he kicking it? Oh, he hasn't got the mana to kick it. So there you go, this could be a 3/3 that couldn't be blocked for 5, or it can be a 1/1 that can't be blocked for 2. Which is better than that Phantom Warrior we had. That was unblockable 2/2. Oh, no, it was a 2/2 for 3. I suppose that's about the same. Boom! There we go, 5/5. Crashing it out. Let's play this Charging Rhino. Can't be blocked by more than one creature. And let's attack with our... Do you want to attack with this? So this is the thing, right? If we attack with it now, he can gang block it and kill it. If we don't attack with it now, next turn it will be a 9/9. And then it'll be hard. There's 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. He'd have to block it with everything to kill it. So I'm actually not going to attack with it until next turn. Because I think patience is a virtue here. And having that big beefy creature, especially now that thing's traded away. Another living tsunami. Oh, of course he can use his 2/2. The problem with that is now he's lost this 2/2 as a blocker for later. It'd been better to use this land here. It's perhaps a mistake. You don't use your man lands first. No, it's not my main phase yet. Oh, we got another Scoop Mob. That's good news. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests. So next turn, we can use this trample effect. Right now, this can only be blocked by one creature. So if he wants to kill it, he has to use the 4/4. And we'll attack with the 9/9 as well. Now we could attack with the Nissa's Chosen. You know what, should we attack with everything? Why not? Because we're going to have a big creature next turn. If it all gets through, then we win anyway. So he's forced to block, and he's going to be forced to lose probably this 1/2 and this 1/1 and quite likely this 4/4. Now we might lose this 4/4 in the process, but that's okay. We don't mind that too much. Okay, interesting. Choosing to not lose this 4/4 this turn and just chump block instead. That's probably actually fairly sensible. Now, there's no way the opponent can attack. Here come our counters. Waboom! Waboom! And we've got Trample. Oh no, we lost the Invoker, didn't we? Of course, we can't gain Trample. That's fine. He can only block 3 things. He's forced to block this. He'll definitely block this, probably with the 1/2, and I think maybe he'll kill this with the 4/4. But that's fine. We'll attack with all. The only other thing to always be sure of is that the opponent doesn't have returning lethal, because sometimes they'll have a way of... do we want to... Yeah, we want to kill the 4/4. And he's going to block the 2/2, so he's blocking with 2 to kill this thing. It means only got one thing left. Draw 2 cards. Interesting. Choosing to play that but not a land. Probably doesn't have a land. Oh wait, they play it at the end of turn perhaps. Another Tempest Owl. Can't afford the kicker. Still. And this is good news for us. Look at this thing. Ridiculous. He has to block this, which means that the only thing he could do is block this with both to kill it. But I don't think that's going to help. We won't kill him this turn, but we're forcing him to get rid of all his creatures to chump block. Oh, I see. I wonder why it showed us that, but it's because it came from that 2/2 land creature. Drawing cards, looking for an answer. Probably doesn't have an answer. Not with 1 mana anyway. Huzzah! Huzzah! Yeah, just a 21/21, you know. Oh, and the Wild Heart Invoker. Oh, we can't use it because we don't have enough mana to play it and use it, sadly. Give him the beans. All of the beans. We did it. Hurrah. Good job, Nissa. Man. See, green's real fun. I feel like green often does well in the games because they don't like to put in the really complex techie cards a lot of the time, or they steer clear of some of the more techie cards, and green has just a lot of solid beef. Just big, strong creatures that hit you in the face. As the roil subsides, the land before you coalesces into an earthen beast-like form. The elemental approaches you with its head low, and you know that it is an ally. You form a bond with it, and you sense that it will guide you the rest of the way to Akum. Your journey into the mountains becomes harder with each step. As you approach a towering peak, the darkness grows into something almost intangible, or something almost tangible. The land tells you that this is the source of the blight. You reach out to it, and suddenly your mind is overwhelmed by otherworldly visions of an ancient horror. Ooh, this looks like it might be the Eldrazi. The Eldrazi came in. I started playing around the start of Zendikar, and I think there are actually, the new set is the return of the Zendikar and the Eldrazi conflicts. And the Eldrazi are these huge towering creatures with ridiculous... Hello, someone's got 100 mana. Your vision shows you strange beings attacking. Survive their assault to see the source of the corruption. The Eldrazi Behemoth, Emrakul. Ooh, okay, so I guess maybe we just have to hold out here. It says survive. So this is just going to be a last until a certain amount of time, perhaps. Alright, we've got well, we've got cards we can play, but they're not great cards, so let's draw a new hand. Look at this thing. Baloth Woodcrashers, 4/4 that becomes 8/8s with trample. It's not too bad. We got a 2-drop and we got 3 lands. That's probably okay. That's probably better than... It's not a great hand, but it's better than continuously redrawing. So yeah, the Eldrazi are these huge creatures. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. There's Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. There's Kozilek, the Butcher. There's Ulamog, the Infinite Gaia, I think. That might be all of them. There might be another one. And they're these huge mythical rare legendary creatures with an ability called Annihilator, which is when they attack you, you have to sacrifice a certain number of permanents. And the top tier of them all which sounds like we might actually get to see him, is Emrakul. With the Emrakul, the Ian's Torn. It costs like 15 mana, and it's like a 15/15, and you can't counter it, and it's protected from every colour of spell, and so you can't actually do anything with it. You know, there's no spells will kill it or return it to hand or anything. When you play it, you get an extra turn, so the opponent can't even respond to it. And when you attack with it, the opponent has to sacrifice 6 permanents. It's ridiculous. It's a card that would almost never actually see play because it's so expensive. You know, 15 mana is an insane amount to get to. But when you play it, you basically win the game guaranteed 100% of the time. Now, and each of them have other things. So, like Ulamog has the Pathrazer of Ulamog, which is an 11/11 or 11 mana, and when it attacks, you have to sacrifice 2 permanents. It's all very fancy stuff. Man, these cards are very familiar to me. These Eldrazi cards, because they're all from the block when I started playing. Also worth noting, as I say, these are all very expensive, these Eldrazi cards, but the way they get around that are these spawn. So I think it was this guy. When you play him, you get a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn, and a lot of things will pop the Eldrazi spawn out, and Eldrazi spawn can be sacrificed for a mana. So they're kind of little eggs that you can. And then you can pop all the eggs to get a load of mana. We could use this to kill the 2/2. I don't think we necessarily need to this turn, because we can always block it if he chooses to attack with it. We've got solid blockers. Also of note, the Eldrazi themselves and the Eldrazi's like the pawns, like a Kozilek's. I think it's like Kozilek's Crusher perhaps or something. And the other Eldrazi themselves, they're all colourless. So all these other cards you'll see will be various colours. Looks like green and red is the theme here. So Emrakul's Hatcher. So this is a one of the Emrakul cards. The Ian's Torn. And he puts 3/0/1 spawn tokens in. So the reason it's interesting they're colourless is there's some fancy cards. Like one of the ones I had is a spell that target like all players sacrifice all coloured permanents that they own. So if you're playing Eldrazi, you have these colourless things. Everyone else has everything that's any colour, so basically not artifacts or Eldrazi, all get sacrificed. And because it's sacrifice is a very powerful effect, because you can counter some things. You can counter stuff like destroy effects with regeneration, but if you're forced to sacrifice something, there's no way to stop that. You know, there's no way to say, oh, you can't sacrifice, I'm not going to sacrifice, because it's you're doing it to your own creature. It's a weird mechanics thing, but it's quite interesting. Okay, we just need to survive, so we don't actually need to push in and deal damage here. So I guess we'll hang out. We've got blockers to deal with these guys. And if he's not attacking, then that's probably good for us. We might as well kill that 3/3. Get rid of it for now. Seems like a sensible plan of action. I guess, you know, we could attack in, but I don't think there's too much benefit to it, because there's so much health going on here that perhaps our best bet is just to hang out and survive the onslaught, because who knows what's going to come. It's okay, so here's the Hand of Emrakul, one of the minor Eldrazi. You can sacrifice 4 sport, so it costs 9, and you can use these. So you could have, looks like they're actually going to do it. They're going to use the 6 mana and then sacrifice these 3 for a total of 9. But if there's one more Eldrazi spawn, you can just pay 4 and get your 7/7 with Annihilator 1. So here you go. Here's the Annihilator mechanic. Whenever this attacks, defending player sacrifices a permanent. So this is where it's going to get real hairy. Because if we can't deal with this thing, it's going to force us to sacrifice our stuff every time it attacks. So we're pretty much going to be forced to kill that ASAP. And worth noting, like, that's not when it hits, that's just when it attacks. So there's no way to avoid that. Okay, so we're going to have to sacrifice a permanent here. But we're also going to want to block. Now I think we're going to block with these three here. For a total of 8 damage to the Hand of Emrakul. This could be real useful for keeping our life total topped up. But these guys are going to be more beefy in the long run. And if we don't... They cost 6 and we've only got 5 land in play. So I think I'm going to sacrifice our Guild Heart, which makes me sad. Oh, Glady. Kind of awkward to do. There we go. Got him. We need to kill this, because if we don't, then if we hadn't killed it, then we would be sacrificing every turn and it'd be no good at all. This Pilgrimage is real handy here. Oh, okay, we get... Okay, we do only get 2. I'm not crazy. Does this have... It's instant or sorceries, okay, and we only have 2. So now we'll be able to... And this is Pilgrimage for 3 in the future. Okay, well, let's skip attack. We managed to survive. So that's one of those interesting things with Eldrazi, is you could theoretically just have chump blocked that guy and we could have kept more of our creatures alive. But then we'd have to have dealt with him again the next turn. Oop. And as you mean to... Oh, I wanted to not play that. It's not very easy to not play that. It doesn't matter too much because we won't be able to attack with him anyway. But every turn we play him, he becomes the 8/8 with trample. Now that's not actually particularly useful to us. I guess we could attack with this if we wanted. I still feel like there's not really much point if our goal is to survive. So yeah, these things are going to get big, but they're going to get big on our turn, which isn't quite as useful when the opponent is playing these big dudes. Okay, so here's another Hand of Emrakul. Hard cast with mana this time, so the mana's getting pretty intense. Boom. Another Balos Woodcrasher. We're going to have to probably block with both these guys. And that's going to be our turn. Okay. The interesting thing that it automatically reads that you don't have anything to play, because if you're playing against an opponent and you see that, then you know that they can't afford what's in their hand, or that what's in their hand isn't useful to be played right now. This guy's going to make some more Eldrazi spawn tokens. How many did you get from it? 3. Okay, so there's 10 mana here, which is a lot of mana. Deciding not to attack with a Hand of Emrakul. That's kind of good for us. Fantastic. And we get three forests. One goes into play. These guys get big. These guys continue to get big. We could actually attack here. It wouldn't necessarily be the worst, because maybe he'd be forced to block. I'm going to do it. Because although it means we can't kill the Hand of Emrakul, we've actually got plenty of land to sacrifice. We don't need as much land as we have now. And it's only Annihilator 1. So that's okay. Look at that, we dealt 24 damage. It's a mere scratch against this chap. Let's sacrifice one of our tapped lands, because we're not using that. And do we want to block here? Probably do. 7 damage is a fair chunk. Let's get rid of this 1-4. It doesn't look like there's any flying coming in anyway. I believe Emrakul does have flying. But if I'm correct, then when we see Emrakul, the game might be over anyway. Like, automatically. Oh, man. If we could buff up our creature... In fact, we can buff up our creature. I was going to say if we can buff up our creature, we can fight it. But this thing gets buffed up anyway. And then we... Wild Instincts. We fight the Hand of Emrakul. Boom. Take that, Hand of Emrakul. And then we can attack with our 8/8 tramples. They can block this and trade with it, but that's probably okay with me. Because we've still got another one to do fancy stuff to. Okay, we've dealt with 2 of their creatures. Living Destiny. You gain life equal to the revealed card's converted mana cost. Okay, what card in hand? There we go, there he is. Okay. Converted mana cost 15, going to gain 15 life. Let's take a look at this. Can't be countered. When you cast it, take an extra turn. Flying, protected from all coloured spells, so you can't use any coloured spells against this. They'll just bounce right off. Annihilator 6. And when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, you shuffle your graveyard back into the library. It's a pretty ridiculous card. I wonder if that's the end. I wonder if he's going to play it. I don't know how much mana he has. 6, 10, 13. Doesn't have enough mana to play it yet. Okay, so now next turn he'll have enough mana to play. So we're either this is going to be the end of the match when he plays Emrakul, or we're just going to lose. But either way, it'll be a fun adventure. So we might as well attack with this. Because we can't block Emrakul anyway, he's flying. I presume that we're not going to actually have to fight Emrakul. We'll see. Either way, he'll be able to play it this turn. The Aeon's Torn. Dun 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 dun. And we won, apparently. Which we didn't really, but hey, we completed the quest. I guess. You've seen too much. The power of the entity hibernating within the land threatens to drive you mad. You scream, clinging desperately to sanity. Around you, the mountain, the horror within it, and Zendikar itself all begins to fade away. Wow. What an intense way. We faced the Eldrazi, we faced Emrakul on the plane of Zendikar. And the horror, the nightmarish power of this creature causes Nissa's Planeswalker spark to ignite, and she planeswalks to Lorwyn, where her adventure will continue, but that'll be on the next episode. So thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to pop that like button, subscribe to the channel for more Magic Duels Origins, plenty of other games as well, of course. I've been Ken. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Cheers!